Kyren Lacy was supposed to be the next big wide receiver out of LSU, a 6'2" deep threat with speed, coming off his best season yet. Scouts had him pegged as a mid-round pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, but on December 17, 2024, police say Lacy caused a devastating car crash in Louisiana that killed a 78-year-old man. Investigators say he was driving recklessly, speeding and making an illegal pass in a no-passing zone. Worst of all, they claim he fled the scene without stopping or calling for help. The fallout was immediate. Prosecutors issued an arrest warrant, charging him with negligent homicide, felony hit and run, and reckless operation of a vehicle. Lacy turned himself in, posted a $151,000 bond, and waited for his day in court. But while he was free, his football career collapsed. NFL teams backed away. Scouts stopped calling. Instead of training for the combine, he was preparing for trial. On April 12, 2025, just 2 days before a grand jury was set to hear his case, police say Lacy got into an argument with a family member in Houston, Texas. He fired a gun into the ground and fled in his car. Officers chased him, and when the pursuit ended, they found him dead from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. In the wake of his death, his legal team pushed back. His attorney Matt Ori released a huge statement, called the entire investigation a witch hunt, saying it was overzealous and targeted, driven by public perception, not facts. And the evidence would have led to a declination of charges by the grand jury. His lawyer spoke out more today and released the footage of the crash. And Kyren is really far from this crash, bro. I'm gonna watch this full video of his lawyer speaking. Stick around for the full video, let's go.
And good to see you, Matt. Thank you for coming.
Good to see you, Martin. Thank you for having me.
Did you compile anything new?
I've got everything. I've got every piece of evidence I have viewed. I've examined every piece of evidence, which includes all surveillance, all body cam footage, and most importantly, the investigative report that was generated and manufactured by the Lafourche Parish District Attorney's Office, according to the data that they obtained. At the entirety of the District Attorney's findings, their findings after their own investigation. That's what we're here today to present. We're going to compare and contrast those findings with the findings of state police, because there's a ton of confusion. People seem to believe that somehow he hit someone in this accident, or possibly even shot through two cars and there was this explosion behind him. I've heard every version possible.
This is true. The public perception right now of Kyren Lacy for some people is that he straight up caused this huge accident and just left him in the dust.
Yeah, so what you'll see is in the top left of the screen, you're going to see multiple cars just making their way south to Thibodaux, coming from Vacherie. At some point in time, you're going to see the collision, which we're going to know is vehicle number 2 from oncoming traffic colliding with the vehicle of Mr. Hall. You will see another vehicle come to a stop, and then you'll see Kyren Lacy come to a stop.
So as we've seen the video, it looks like the impact happens, and then Kyren Lacy is behind him. How far away was he from there?
Pretty far, right?
Well, yeah, that's the beauty of the investigative report that I now have my hands on. We know from data that Kyren Lacy did in fact pass 4 cars. There's no disputing that. Further north, Kyren Lacy passed 4 cars.
Further north, so behind Kyren, he passed cars behind him that were on the video that we just saw. Obviously not the cars in front of him. He didn't attempt to pass them yet.
He was back in his lane of travel, 92.3 yards, back in his lane, behind Mr. Hall.
Did you hear that? Back in his lane, 92 yards behind Mr. Hall. 92 yards is far as shit. That's a football field. I know it's kind of crazy to say this, but think about how long a football field is.
At the time of impact, he's 72.6 yards behind the vehicles at the time of impact. Keyword, behind the vehicles. That is not how this story was ever painted. Never. This is the investigation of the Lafourche Parish District Attorney's Office. So I'm here simply comparing and contrasting the District Attorney's Office with state police in this matter. Their investigations. And in that investigation, it shows that he was back in his correct lane of travel, 92.3 yards. Before this incident occurred, he was back in his lane.
I mean, I really don't understand how he was charged in this. 92 yards is far as shit, even in a car, in my opinion. And they're all traveling like, it looks like 30 to 40 miles per hour. Law
state about where you should be behind, or I want to say I thought it was 100 feet. Is that correct?
It is correct. You know, take out the fact here that it's a no passing zone. If it weren't at this time, it's 100 feet. What we know now is he was 3 times legally what he needed to be back in his lane of traffic.
Obviously, he shouldn't have been passing in a no passing zone. And that's what the lawyer pointed out there, but this is insane to me.
What you see here is vehicle 3. That is Mr. Hall's vehicle. This is another vehicle between Mr. Lacy and Mr. Hall. This is the gold truck that's referenced in the report. This is heading north. So this is the lead vehicle heading north. And the vehicle that actually collided with Mr. Hall's vehicle, that would be vehicle 2.
So gold truck's in front of vehicle 2 on this side.
Vehicle 2 was tailgating, all right? According to the data, again, of the District Attorney's Office, not me, according to their data, tailgating at 49.6 miles an hour, 0.5 seconds behind the gold truck. 1.5 seconds before the crash. So again, if that did make sense, she is following 0.5 seconds behind this vehicle, 0.5 seconds behind that vehicle, 1.5 seconds before the crash. Wow. At over 49 miles an hour. 0.5. When this woman was in the ambulance, they issued her a ticket, all right? You know for what? Take a wild guess. Following too close. Another trooper comes and is looking for that particular ticket. And that ticket, something may happen to the ticket, don't worry about it. Sure enough, something happened to that ticket down the road, right? The ticket now needs to fit a better narrative. And that ticket now says, crossing left of center. Why? Why? The black box is telling me. The data from the district attorney's office tells me you're traveling 0.5 seconds at 49.6 miles an hour, 1.5 seconds before the accident.
That's very sus. Changing it to a different ticket. When does that ever happen? That's very suspect, right?
That data in that vehicle shows me 5 seconds previous to this crash. 5. I'm looking at it and you're going to show it. 5 seconds previous to this crash, she maintained a speed of 49.6 miles an hour, never activating the EBS system until 0.5 seconds before the crash. Why is that important? Because if your story, which we'll get into, keeps getting bigger and bigger, and you had all this time to see the gold truck, in her words, stomp on their brakes, slam on their brakes, come to a stop, veer off the road. I see another vehicle approaching. I see the Charger approaching. Well, my question to you now becomes, how did you see that vehicle approaching, or him stop, or him slam on his brakes, yet your data says you never touched your brake prior to 0.5 seconds before that crash? I'm looking right now, so are you, at the last 5 seconds, according to her. Her car's black box, not mine, not my expert. That's her car. So if you're going to tell me a 5 to 10 second elaborate story, it needs to make sense.
Interesting. So he's saying if you saw Kyren's car, and this is why you caused the accident, is because of Kyren passing a lane in front of you, coming at you. Why did you react so late? Because wasn't he already back in the lane at this time too?
And when you have the data, not only doesn't it add up, it's not possible. Notice on there, Martin, it says 75 degrees, right? You turn 75 degrees to the left all of a sudden.
That's a pretty hard turn to the left.
It's a very hard turn to the left. The gold truck, the lead vehicle in oncoming traffic, who, by the way, is probably one of the two most important witnesses in this entire case.
100%. He's the vehicle in the front in the oncoming traffic from Kyren.
We know now that 2.99 seconds prior to him pulling off the road, he was traveling 28 miles an hour.
That's very slow.
But let's be very clear right now for the intent and purposes of what we're doing. There are two vehicles that we're talking about right now that are traveling north. The second vehicle in oncoming traffic, which is vehicle 2, their data says she is tailgating. She is 0.5 seconds at 49.6 miles an hour, 1.5 seconds before the crash. And you saw her data, 50.3 to 49.6.
Yeah, so she stayed at 49.6 until 0.5 seconds, and then
there's a variation of less than a mile per hour. He says upon reviewing the body cam video of the trooper from the scene, the following statement was made by, we'll call her vehicle 2, right? I just know the truck was stomping on brakes. The other was trying to pass the other car. I was trying to dodge by not hitting him, by coming around. When the trooper asked how fast she was going, she replied the speed limit. He next says, I reviewed the recorded interview and the written statement from vehicle 2 while she was in the hospital on January 3rd, 2025. Below is a synopsis of that interview. In the very first, it says, all I can see is that a car is coming this way and the car in front of me, right before the crash. I'm looking at the pickup truck in front of me. That's all they see for the moment. I'm eating my Funyuns. I got in the middle of my lap and I'm driving. I'm listening to my music. All of a sudden, I see the car get in the other person's lane. The truck, end quote, steps on his brakes. First, so it slows down, but then he does it again, and this time it's really hard. That's when you can see on the other side the car is trying to get back over. But before he can get over, the truck stops in the middle, like on the brakes, hard. There's another car that runs damn near into the pole. It's either I run into him or I try to get out the way, so I'm trying to get to the dollar store parking lot. Then the other car just comes and slams into me. The trooper asks vehicle 2, whenever you're looking forward, or the cars in front of you, they swerve off to the right before you make your left, or are you looking at a green Charger coming at you? Or, in end of quotes, vehicle 2 responded with, the green Charger came, and then the car behind me, behind them, the truck, the van, whatever. The trooper does not ask any further follow-up questions to get a better understanding of what she was saying for this answer. Now remember, I'm reading what the investigator's saying. When vehicle 2 states the truck stops in the middle of the road like on the brakes hard, this statement indicates that the gold truck stopped in the middle of the lane and not, in quotes, swerving off to the right. This would also show that vehicle 2 would have steered to the left to avoid contact with the gold truck and not Kyren Lacy. During this interview with the trooper, vehicle 2 made several statements that do not match the submitted report or written statement. Instead of questioning vehicle 2 for more details, the trooper attempted to recap what she was saying, which seems to contradict her statements.
Yeah, her statements were all over the place just now. That was so confusing.
While doing this, the trooper is the first to talk about the gold truck swerving off to the right. Then when it came to obtaining the written statement, the trooper tells vehicle 2 what to document on the statement as she is writing.
The trooper tells her what to write? Is that what he just said?
do we have any data on the gold truck?
2.99 seconds before the gold truck eases off to the road.
Okay.
Eases off of the road.
Right.
He's traveling at 28 miles an hour.
Right.
That all is in this report.
Yeah, that's my question.
You watch someone slam on their brakes. You watch them stop. You watched a car chart coming at you in your lane of traffic, but you never thought to just tap the brakes? Really? No. Data is accurate. The black box is accurate. That says that you never touch your brakes. You never touch your brakes in the last 5 seconds until 0.5 seconds before the impact. That's their data. It's not mine.
Yeah, it really doesn't add up or make sense that she reacted so late. And she was eating Funyuns?
I'm looking at that gold truck. I want to know what they said, when they said it, what were the circumstances, how did this come about? And this is where it really starts tying together. The very first one, what I noticed on the body cam was that the conversation was going on for 4 minutes and approximately 30 seconds prior to the body cam being activated. And of course, when the body cam's activated, I don't know what you said those previous 4.5 minutes.
I'm gonna be honest, why are police officers allowed to turn body cam on and off? That should be like a law, that body cam has to be on if they're on the clock, honestly. There's a gold truck guy.
Hi, sir.
So this is a guy that was in front of vehicle 2 that could clearly see Kyren's green Charger.
Look, don't worry about filling any of this top information, like your name, address. Don't worry about any of that. Just right here, if you could, I'll just have you write exactly what you saw. Just make sure to include, where you were.
I don't even know what the name of that highway.
It's Highway 20. Highway 20. That you just.
All right, me and my wife gonna figure out right quick.
Okay, just make sure you add in there that you had to slam on your brakes and the brakes, you had to slam on the brakes to avoid that Charger and the brakes locked up to avoid that Charger. That's.
Why is this officer telling him what to add in there? Is that how this works? That's not how it's supposed to work, right? That's the whole point of witnesses, is to let them write what they saw. Now this guy could be a tainted witness, right? I mean, he just literally told him what to write.
That lady in the back of me, she didn't saw what's happening. That's how she called that record. She was running in the back of me. She pulled on the other side, and that's not in it.
So she calls that wreck. The lady that ran in the back of me, the person behind him. I think that's what he's saying.
Oh, but the Charger was coming right at you, correct? And that's why you had to slam on your brake, head on with you. So yeah, just make sure you include that, and that's very important because we're trying to locate this Charger right now. So just include that in the statement, and I'll read it over, and then I'll be out of here.
In that video, you can clearly hear the suggestive nature indicating that I need you to say that you had to slam on your brakes and you had to avoid a Charger.
Okay, just make sure you add in there that you had to slam on your brakes and the brakes, you had to slam on the brakes to avoid that Charger and the brakes locked up to avoid that Charger. That's
crazy. He's telling him what to write in a witness statement.
But then you hear Gold Truck, the witness who's the Gold Truck, what he says. And he says verbatim.
I ain't skid mark or nothing, but I wasn't even going for it. That lady in the back of me, she didn't saw what's happening. That's how she called that record. She was running in the back of me. She pulled on the other side, and that's not in it.
I didn't skid marked or nothing because I wasn't even going that fast. That lady in the back of me, she didn't see what's happening. That's how she caused that wreck. She was gonna run into the back of me and she pulled into the other side.
Boom. It seems like the lady behind this gold truck guy was eating Funyuns and probably fucking dropped them and swerved or something, dude. Honestly, that's what it seems like. Kyren was illegally passing before 100 yards away, but that doesn't mean he caused an accident 100 yards away. It's just literally like he was in the wrong place at the wrong time almost.
I then obtained the actual written statement.
And this is from the gold truck.
This is the Gold Truck. Now, after the statement we just went through, notice, I've obviously redacted names, addresses, and the cell phone number in fairness to the individual who is Gold Truck number 1 in oncoming traffic. See, the problem with that statement is it is in direct contravention to what was said minutes earlier. It's not written by him, and where it says signed, it's not signed, it's refused. But you see, when I have a witness who is the most critical, and he's telling you, I wasn't traveling fast. We know now that he wasn't. The data shows 2.99 seconds before that he was traveling 28 miles an hour. The data shows that. Now he corroborates that. And he goes on to say, I didn't even make a skid mark. That woman behind me, she caused that accident. And you give me this statement that is refused? I got a problem.
So I guess the gold truck guy's wife wrote it. If I were to guess, remember he said his wife was going to do it on the video, and she refused to sign it, which is a red flag. As a witness, you have the right to refuse to sign a written statement, especially at the scene of an accident. Possible reasons include disagreement with the written account. You may disagree with how the police officer summarized or transcribed your account of the crash. You may be worried that the statement could be used against you or another party in a way you do not intend. Or this officer wrote this shit.
I got a problem with that. A big one. What he's saying is she had to avoid hitting him. He specifically stated she caused that accident, but I've got an affidavit for arrest warrant right here. Nowhere in here does it say anything that you guys just saw on body cam. To the contrary, about that vehicle, it says The gold truck took evasive action by emergency braking and driving off the roadway to avoid a head-on crash. But you just heard he said, I wasn't even going fast. I didn't even skid mark. So what emergency braking are we referring to here?
Wasn't he going 28 miles per hour? That's horseshit.
And what the hell was the point of this report that is complete opposite?
So let's read this. Highway 20, green Charger coming head on, passing multiple cars coming head on. I had to slam on the brakes to avoid accident. I had to veer off road to avoid getting hit. Then I stopped to check on the cars behind me in the wreck. I was traveling north. The Charger was traveling south in wrong lane, 92 yards away.
She didn't saw what was happening. That's how she called that wreck. She was running in the back of me. She pulled on the other side, and that's not in it.
So, but the Charger was coming right at you, correct? And that's why you had to slam when you brake, the head on with you. So yeah, just make sure you include that, and that's very important because we're trying to locate this Charger right now. So just include that in the statement, and I'll read it over, and then I'll be out of here. Okay?
By the way, the body cam wasn't on for this statement. It was turned off before obtaining this statement, and this is what we get back in the file. This is where Kyren passed, right? He comes here, he passes. He gets back in his lane.
Okay, so these are the 4 cars he passed north, and he's traveling south. He's traveling this way, obviously.
Don't you know that one of these witnesses that's in this package actually says in his statement that the Charger passed through the vehicle of Mr. Hall and the gold truck and vehicle 2, and then they collided. I can't make this up.
That witness is on fucking drugs. What are they saying? He was so far behind the accident, he did not pass through the cars to cause the accident. This is why witness testimony can be picked apart by lawyers in court, bro.
This is what people just don't get to see. Mm-hmm. And again, I'm not saying this intentional. I'm saying people commit to a story and they don't back down. You saw it here, but I'm telling you, you guys saw a video. You just saw a statement where somebody tells them what to say. They tell them that's not what happened. They still give me the statement.
He's not wrong. This is ridiculous. I can't believe they charged him with this.
And now I got another individual who we won't harp into here because it's so uncredible, right? That one individual, one of the 4 individuals here, they say that they were going 30 to 35 miles an hour when Kyren passed him. He did. There's no disputing that. No one ever did, but he was back in his lane of travel. 92.3 yards back in. 72.6 at the time of impact. When they collide, he is 72.6. Before they collide, he is almost a football field away back in his lane.
I love how he's saying football field too. It's like the easiest way to really get the grasp of how far that is. The pass was 92 yards away. Even in a car. I know people are going to say it's in a car. The people he's passing are going 30 miles per hour.
That's not disputed. What you can see is another car come to a stop, and then Kyren Lacy come to a stop. But you know what's really interesting to me as well is that there was another passenger in Kyren Lacy's car. They knew this. They have video footage of this individual getting out of the car. Why didn't you ascertain his identity? Why would you not want to hear the person with one of the best views of this incident? Why would you make a call? Why would you simply not bring him in for questioning?
Probably because it didn't fit their narrative, or I would imagine that guy didn't want to speak to the police. Probably Kyren's friend or family member. They're probably like, fuck this.
Or you talked to him after?
Of course I talked to him after. It's exactly what they said. Yeah. It's exactly what they said. Mm-hmm. They actually thought at one point in time that she collided with the gold truck. That's the very first thing they told me, that they thought that this vehicle 2, was trying to get around the 2. As in, slide between them, as in, uh-oh.
Dude, I think the girl behind the gold truck caused this accident. Like, straight up, that's what it seems like. She had Funyuns, and she swerves left out of nowhere into oncoming traffic.
The very last line of the report from the district attorney's office says, the evidence submitted in the crash report does not support that Kyren Lacy should have known that his actions were the cause of the crash that happened approximately 72 yards in front of him.
So why was he charged? What the fuck is this? That basically just says he's innocent right there.
And what we know is we never disputed ever that he passed those vehicles. They were in a row, 4 vehicles in a row. We know they were going 30 to 35 miles an hour. He passed them. It was a no passing zone, but he got back in 92.3 yards. He was back in his lane of travel. He was 72 yards behind at the time of impact. We know that now. He was actually the second car to pull up behind, not even the first. At no point in time did he have to slam his brakes. He wasn't even close to the second car.
Dude, this is bullshit. How was he charged for this? If this actually went to trial, he would have been acquitted so quick.
He just eased in. He eased in. He went straight from there to the facility in Schriever for his football practice.
Now, he should have probably stopped and checked on people.
He had no idea he caused this accident because he didn't think he caused the accident. He didn't cause the accident. Did he? Did he just get through and take off like they suggested? You and I read reports earlier. We're looking at all news reports where they say he actually collided with a vehicle.
They did.
They actually said he fled a scene. They actually said he came back to the scene. Do you know how preposterous that is? None of that's true. And he sure as hell never split the difference and barely got through, and then there was some big explosion. That's not what happened. Kyren Lacy passed 4 vehicles. There's no question, in a row. Nobody ever disputed that. But it's now undisputed that he got back in 92.3 yards. Now, interestingly enough, the report indicates that at 120.4 yards, he was already entering back into the lane, right?
120 yards, he was already getting back in the lane after passing in the pass zone. 120 yards, that's a full football field, including the end zones.
They reference that is they say in this report, the district attorney's office, their investigation yielded that at that time, Kyren and vehicle number 2, all right, 1.5 seconds before the accident, or 120.4 yards apart.
So it said 120.4 yards, not feet.
All this is yards. This is not feet.
It's a big difference.
The only footage we have discussed, you and I today, is what's legally required when you pass a vehicle.
100 feet.
You have to be back in your lane of traffic 100 feet. He was over 300 feet. I'll be the first to admit that particular law does not say when you're in a no passing zone. Be clear. He passed 4 vehicles in a no passing zone. Never been disputed. Not once.
He definitely should not have been doing that. I may admit I've done that once or twice in my day, for sure. If there's a car going slow as shit, but I don't think 4 cars. 4 cars is kind of crazy.
But the big narrative spun was, and this is very important, that he was actively passing at the time of this accident. That is extremely important.
He wasn't. He was back in the lane, wasn't he?
We know now that is 100% false. In the conclusion of the district attorney's report,
Okay, go ahead.
they state in here that they gave the impression that Kyren Lacy was actively passing vehicles when the crash occurred, which is incorrect. He did pass 4 vehicles, but was back in the southbound lane before the crash occurred. And now we know, according to this data, that was 72.6 yards, as it's stated in this report.
This is mind-blowing.
Enough started adding up to me to know that there were holes all over this thing, right? So it's the policy of the Lafourche Parish District Attorney's Office that all homicides go to a grand jury. We were nearing that grand jury, right? Where all of this was coming out. Everything I'm telling you now is going to be presented to a grand jury in a fair, neutral, and impartial manner. So, in my opinion, this never survives a grand jury. Never, never, ever survives a grand jury. We were 48 hours from that.
What the fuck, man? What was this argument with this family member, bro? This is so sad, bro. He should be in the NFL right now, practicing and playing a game in 2 days. That's pretty much the gist of this whole situation. I think this district attorney's office should be embarrassed for charging him, honestly. The only thing I can see is because it was a no passing zone and they're like, shit, we got him. We can convince a jury just because it's a no passing zone, even though he was back in his lane 92 yards away from him. I don't understand. At the same time, I agree with this lawyer. I don't think this would have passed a grand jury either. Rest in peace, Kyren Lacy. Love you guys. Peace out, man.